You're now listening to It's Easy Breezy Sports and Athletes Podcast, and I'm your host, Danny T. Today's interview is brought to you by iHeartRadio, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at It's Easy Breezy Sports. Right now, we're going to go ahead and jump straight into this interview. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, for sure.
Where are you originally from?
I'm from Indiana, so I'm originally from New Albany, right by Louisville, Kentucky.
Volleyball, did that come first, or did you start playing all types of sports growing up?
Oh, I played all types of sports. So volleyball didn't really come until I was going into high school. Like, that was the first travel team I was on. It was before that, it was really soccer and swimming. And then I kind of gave up soccer to do swimming. I gave up soccer to do volleyball.
Wow.
Yeah. What?
Why is that?
That's because I just started having my high school coach and other coaches investing a lot of time to give me private lessons in volleyball, and people telling me I had a lot of potential in it. And I didn't really have a lot of people giving me private lessons in soccer telling me I had potential. I think it's also because I played it since I was like 4.
Mm-hmm.
And so volleyball was something new and fresh that people kept telling me I could be great at. And so I decided to try out for the best team in the nation, I think. It's Kiva, Kentucky Indiana Volleyball Academy. They're known for winning tons of national championships. And I remember going to the tryout, and even my brother, before I went, was like, "Why are you even going to that, Lex? Like, there's no way you're going to make that team." And I was like, "No, I'm going to make it. I'm going to do it." And he was like, okay. And even when I was coming home from tryouts, my brother was like, "You're not going to make it." And my parents were like, "Well, let him at least try," and all this stuff. And I had the best tryout of my life. Like, I was hitting balls down. I was doing all this stuff. And this was the time where I was super long and lanky. And I got a call a few days after the tryouts telling me that I made the team. I made the ones team. So the best team in the club. And I remember just like feeling so overwhelmed with joy. And before selfies were a thing, I like took a selfie on my phone. I specifically remember that. I took a selfie on my little flip phone, and I was like, I'm gonna remember this moment where I made Kiva. And then went to my first practice and all this, and terrible. Oh my gosh, the coach was like, "Wow, hey, so this is gonna be a lot of work." I was the only new girl on the team. All the other girls were from the previous year, so I was the only new person. And so it was really fun playing that role where I could kind of be the new person. Everybody helped me out and this and that. And then later that year, we actually went to nationals and won the national championship, and I scored the last point in the match. So ever since that, I was completely hooked on volleyball.
Were you roughly 6 foot at that time as well?
That's a great question. I think I was. I think I was around 6 foot when I was 14.
Wow.
Probably that was the year.
Tall family?
That I started. Yeah. So my mom is 5'11". I think she shrunk a little bit, but she's 5'11", claims to be 5'11". And then my dad's 6'3", so I'm in between the two.
And so at that point, as far as volleyball, did swimming kind of take the back seat?
Yes, because I was excelling so much in volleyball, I was kind of getting burnt out from swimming. I mean, I had been swimming since I was really young. I think maybe 5 or 6. And so by the time I was in high school, you have to jump in a pool. You have to get your hair wet. You have to take like a shower right after, and it's just a gross feeling hopping in the pool, especially when it's cold outside. And I just remember I was getting so sick and tired of always hopping in a pool and getting wet with chlorine and having to wash off. And it's hard too. Swimming is the hardest sport I've ever played.
I believe it.
People would complain about running and volleyball. I was like, y'all don't even understand. This running and volleyball is nothing compared to swimming. Swimming is the hardest sport that I have ever played. and because it's very individual and it's very mental, and it's kind of challenging yourself to be the best version of yourself, and what can you really achieve? Are you going to push yourself in practice to get these times, or are you going to slack off and maybe not do so well in the meet? So
right.
Whenever it came to swimming, I was tired of it, and I liked volleyball, and I knew that there was more money in a scholarship for volleyball, because scholarship for volleyball are full scholarships, which mean you get the whole year paid for. Some are like 3 years you get scholarship, and 1 year you don't. But usually a middle blocker gets a 4-year full ride scholarship. And swimming, they didn't have that much money in swimming, so I knew that in the long run, swimming wasn't going to be for me because it wouldn't help me get an education.
Is that how you? Is that how you ended at George Washington?
So, through my volleyball scholarship, yeah. Without volleyball, I would have never even known about George Washington University. I remember getting the letter in the mail, and even is this school George Washington? I don't know about that. But my mom at the time was telling me that I should look at every school and consider it, and I couldn't just wash anybody away. So I investigation, and it was in a big city. I wanted to be in a big city, and it had a high academic level. I wanted to have a great education that could advance me in the future. So it had a lot of things that I liked, and I really liked the girls on the team at the time when I went to go on my visit. And I liked how it was just completely different than Indiana and anything I've experienced. I felt like I could grow a lot in DC, and I could experience things that I would never be able to experience in the Midwest.
That's a nice little distance from home.
Yeah, at the time I have an older brother. His name's Luke. He actually went to IU and swam. And once he left the house, I was the only child, and my parents were just on me about anything and everything. And I think it's because they knew that I had potential to go D1, have a full scholarship, but they were just very on me about everything, and I was really annoyed. So I was like, I want to go somewhere super far away so I can just be on my own and do my own thing. And so I went on an unofficial visit with my dad, because at the time I think I was a junior, and you can't go on your official visit until you're a senior. And I told my dad, I really want to go here. He was like, well, just go ahead and commit, and then you'll tell your mom after you do. So I did just that. My mom and she's like, it's so far away to do that. But I was excited to be able to venture out.
How was your growth from a freshman to a senior there?
So when I first got to GW, it was during the summer, because athletes usually go back before the regular students.
Right.
And I remember our initial meeting, people just came at me because we had this group message that we were in during the summer, talking about our workouts we were doing and everything. And if you really know me, I don't really like group messages because I think they just blow up your phone and waste a bunch of time. So I tend to not use them. And so I got my butt ripped from that. They're like, do you think you're too good to message us back? And I was like, no, I just don't like to read all the messages, and I think it's too much. And so I got my butt ripped for that. And then I actually got my butt ripped for my social media. They read that my captions, which, if you know me, I'm a funny girl, or I like to think I'm funny. I would have funny captions. They would tell me that they're inappropriate, and that's not upholding the best for a student athlete. And so I had to go and delete a bunch of pictures and a bunch of captions. And so my initiative to GW volleyball was not what I was picturing. I was thinking to myself, this is unfair. Tell me how to live my life.
Right.
I came here to hopefully decide things on my own and get my own space and all this stuff. And I quickly learned that the old coaches that we had this vision of the team for everyone to be similar and to everyone to be uniform. And I remember I hated that. I hated people trying to put me in a box, to make me fit like other people. And it was a time where coaches told me I would immediately be a starter. And I got there, and just from all of the things that the upperclassmen were saying to me and all the restrictions on me, I felt like I couldn't be myself. And when I couldn't be myself, I didn't perform.
Right.
And so I didn't play a lot my freshman year. And then my sophomore year came, and there was still a little bit of that situation. I remember I got in big trouble one time for my Halloween costume. I was like a Victoria's Secret angel, and I had like a robe on and all this stuff. But my coaches were like, that's not appropriate for you to be that for Halloween. And I was like, this is what I want to be in real life. I want to be a Victoria's Secret angel.
And you got in trouble.
After volleyball and after all this stuff. And then we got these new coaches, Sarah Burnson and Nikki Holmes, and they were amazing. Our program completely flipped. I was able to feel like Alexis Lete again. I could do whatever I want and be whoever I want. And the year that my new coaches came was the year that I reached over 10K followers on Instagram. And I think that has to do a lot with me being happy with who I was and being able to express myself the way I wanted. My old coaches also didn't let me model. They told me I had to stop modeling in order to maintain my scholarship. And these new coaches just really want us to embrace ourselves. And so I started modeling again. I literally got my first gig in New York City that same year that they let us be ourselves. And they're taking off. So it's kind of crazy how much a coach can affect you and how much it can affect your ability to play on the court. Because my junior year, I started to get back to how I used to play before going to college. And then my senior year, I graduated in 3.5 years. I was going to graduate in 3, but these new coaches didn't know that I was trying to graduate early, and they weren't bringing a new middle. So I loved the coaches and loved playing for them. I didn't really have everything figured out after college, so I had to stay. For my last semester, I took like one class. It was pretty great. So one class and played volleyball, and I had the best season of my life. I was on the all-tournament team every tournament but one my senior year. I had consistent stats. I was the captain of the team, one of the captains of the team, and it was just like a beautiful harmony, and stuff started lining up, and I actually had the option to go overseas and try to play professionally, which is something that if I didn't stay for the last year, I've been able to do, because the stats from my junior year to my senior year were astronomically different.
Right, I'm looking at them.
And yeah, it was just like, whoa, okay. So my coaches were like, what about going pro? Like, have you thought about that? Have you talked to someone? Talk to some professional athletes, see if you want to try it, see if you want to do it. So I decided, I graduated. I was back home, and a week before, I decided I was going to go overseas and try it out, see how it goes. So I went
Where you go?
overseas, and I played for a little. I went to Switzerland, near Schaffhausen. It's close to Zurich, which is the big city, or one of the big cities in Switzerland. And I was able to go to Slovenia, Austria, of course, places in Switzerland. And then I traveled to the UK, where one of my friends was playing up north volleyball, and so I was training with her team as well. So it was really cool being able to do it, but not fully do a whole season. So the season usually starts in August, but I went in January, so I was there for just the trail end. So I was only there for about 2 months training with teams while some of their girls were injured. So I got to experience what it was like, but not have to commit 9 months of my life to it, which was amazing, because as much as I loved it, I didn't feel like I was fulfilling my purpose, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. What did you want to do at that time?
Well, you mean when I decided I didn't want to do professional volleyball?
Uh-huh.
I wanted to be a game show host. I still want to be one, because I see it as something where you can be yourself the person who's running the game show is usually cracking jokes. They usually have their own style, own swagger that encompasses the whole show. And it's usually a male-dominated field. When you think of game show hosts, you predominantly think of a male. And I'm all empowerment and messing up the system and stepping into places where maybe someone that looks like me hasn't been seen yet. So I saw that as the greatest opportunity for positive influence in the world.
Do you have a favorite game show?
I don't, but I was on Let's Make a Deal, and that was absolutely amazing. So I guess right now I want a free trip to Thailand once all this is over. So right now I guess that's my favorite because I won big on it.
Tell me about the Miss Indiana USA. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was living in LA for a little bit, going after
what year?
2019. So this is last year. So all of this is last year. So I went overseas and played from January, February last year, and then once I came back, I moved out to LA and tried to develop myself and meet people and network. And then when I was out there, I got involved in this church that I absolutely loved called Mosaic, and it was just a hip way of learning about Christ and making it move in my life. And it was a way that I was not used to learning. I was kind of used to I don't want to say boring churches, but I guess I'm going to say boring churches where they kind of shame you for stuff and make you feel bad. But this church was all about you and stuff. It was like a TED Talk in a church. And I was like, I love this. Oh my gosh, I can relate to this. This is great. And so I was just overflowing with like God and Jesus. And once that started happening, more opportunities came to me, and stuff happened and aligned that it started leading me to competing for Miss Indiana USA. I was like, this is weird. Why do I keep getting these signs for Miss Indiana USA? Like, what? I'm an athlete. I'm trying to, be a game show host. I don't know if this is right for right now. It's totally different. It's kind of out there. I was like, I model and stuff, but that's different than a pageant girl. The pageant girls, I was being a little bit judgmental. I was like, they just care about themselves, narcissistic, blah, blah, blah. And I just kept getting signs from God. I got like 4 solid signs of like people mentioning it to me. And then someone who's a coach contacted me. I was like, hey, have you thought about being Miss Indiana USA? Like, I'll coach you for free. And I was like, I don't know. She's like, well, just look at the date. So I looked at the date. It was at the end of the month that my lease in LA was up. So I decided, okay, I'll just try. I'll see. So I messaged the director, hey, I'm living in LA right now. Like, can I even do this? I'm an Indiana resident, but, just kind of low-key trying to find a way out. And they're like, no, you're an Indiana resident. Like, come on, we'd love to have you. I was like, wow. I was like, God put this here for a reason. I was like, okay. It was 2 weeks before the pageant, too. So I was like, I'm going to drop everything. I'm not going to go to auditions. I'm not going to go to parties, go to events, go to concerts. I'm going to dedicate these 2 weeks strongly to being the next Miss Indiana USA. I'm going to train. I'm going to watch YouTube videos. I'm going to listen to podcasts. My whole 2 weeks got engulfed with just training and being the best version of myself and really going for this, because I figured, I think I'm getting all these signs for a reason. And if I ignore this, I think something bad might come, or I might miss a huge opportunity in my life. So I trained super hard, dedicated all my time, effort, focus, and I bought my plane ticket to come back out for the day of the pageant. And I actually had a plane ticket to go back right after the pageant, but once I won, of course, I had to cancel that that flight, and I became Miss Indiana USA. So it wasn't something that I was really expecting. I never thought I'd be living in Indiana again, but I guess God had different plans for me and the bigger picture. So that's how I ended up here. And now I think all the stuff that I want to do can be done through the pageant system in Miss Indiana. Like right. I told you, when I was younger and when I was in college, people try to put me in a mold, in a box to be in what I was supposed to be. And when I became Miss Indiana USA, I had all these people telling me, I'm not doing my hair right. I'm not doing my makeup right. I need to go to this. I need to care about this charity. And it made me realize that this is the stuff I was fighting when I was in college, when I was younger, what I'm trying to not do. And what I want to promote is individuality. So I started looking at the pageant system as something that I can break almost, not in the way that it's corrupt or anything, but in the way that people don't have to think of a pageant girl as something negative or something that they've seen on TV on toddlers and teenagers. They can see it as a strong woman who is herself and unapologetic and just break the mold. So that's what I'm kind of trying to do now with my platform and that. So it's like what I want to do, but in a different realm.
Your degree was in communications.
Yeah, communications and broadcast journalism.
What did you learn in obtaining your degree?
I learned I like to be in front of the camera.
Okay.
But through my, I did. I would always be working on these projects in broadcast, and I'd always be like, "Hey, I'll be the one that's reporting as long as you edit it."
Right.
I would usually partner up with someone that was super into tech, and so it always worked perfectly. But in the communications department, I learned a lot about conflict management and communicating with people. And one of my favorite classes is the sociology of the family, and it was really interesting to understand how families work and operate. And I think that I loved that class the most because before I went to college, like I said, my parents were super strict on me. And it helped me understand what was going on within our family and things like that. And it made me realize why in college I went by Lete. I didn't go by Alexis. And I think that was because I resented my parents when I was younger, and I wanted to kind of have a name for myself rather than the name that they gave me. So I decided to go by Lete because Lete's something that they couldn't choose. Lete was going to be my last name no matter what, but they chose Alexis. So choosing Lete was like choosing to go by my destiny, choosing my own path. And I never really thought about that until our teachers asked us why we go by our name or what our names meant. And I remember sitting in that class whoa, it was my senior, or I guess my junior class too. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, all of my years at GW, I've been going by Lete, and I never really expressed why or thought about why until this teacher asked me this question that made me think and understand why I go by Lete. And so that was a huge moment in realizing what I cared about and what I felt like my purpose was, and just all that deep stuff,
Right.
Names have so much power,
Yeah, I get it.
When I became Miss Indiana USA, I realized people are going to look at Alexis Lete. They're not going to look up Lete. And people are going to ask me so many questions about Lete,
right,
and this and that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start going by Alexis Lete. And I've actually, since becoming Miss Indiana, moving back home, I've gotten closer with my parents. When I was submitting stuff for Miss Indiana USA for the big national pageant that's going to be televised, we were looking at old videos of me with my parents, and it was me seeing them in a light that I haven't seen them in, just super caring. And I'd be walking around not even a foot tall, and they'd be talking about how sweet and precious I was, and it made me connect with them in a way that I hadn't before, and made me appreciate, what they've done for me in my life. And so if anybody's listening to this and they're having trouble with their parents or they're going through something, watch your baby videos, because that is very eye-opening, and it changed my perspective on a lot of things.
When can we expect more videos on the YouTube? I like that channel you have.
Dude. I'm actually going through a rebranding, and so this next week I'm creating content and kind of rebranding my stuff. My Instagram, I feel like it doesn't really say anything. I've had people message me telling me that I'm inspiring and this and that, but I kind of look at it and just see pictures of a cute face, and that's cool and all, but how much impact can a cute face be unless it uses its voice too?
Any last words you might like to say to the audience by chance, Alexis?
I don't know. I have a favorite quote, but it's kind of cheesy.
What is it?
It's pretty much just about being nice to people.
Say it.
It's okay. Let's talk about candles. I'm trying to think of the exact thing. Say it. Okay. Your light does not get darker by lighting another candle. The room just gets brighter. And pretty much it means when you support other people, it doesn't that go away from you. It just means that you both are going to shine and the world's going to be a better place. So I like that because especially with females, a lot of the time we see each other as competition. And if someone's doing something, we don't think another person can do it, but there's enough room for all of us to thrive and grow. And as cheesy as it sounds, make the world a better place.
That's right.
That's my pageant girl coming out.
How can people follow you on social media?
They can check me out on Instagram at Lil Lete. It's LILLETE. I'm on TikTok too, and it's Lil Lete as well, but with an extra E at the end. And then there's my Miss Indiana account, which I tagged that in my Lil Lete page, so you can just follow Lil Lete because that's forever thing. Miss Indiana thing is just for a year, so that's how y'all can follow me. And I'm gonna on you more. Apparently, I need according to Danny, and that's
because
I'm not gonna try. I am.
I like it a lot.
I actually have so much footage to post on there. I just haven't yet.
Do it.
You're right. Okay.
I promise you.
I like it. I needed this push. I needed this, Danny.
I'm following you. I'm pushing. I'm not gonna stop.
All right.
I promise.
Heck yeah. Watch. Like after today, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do it for a year, and I'm gonna have like 1 million followers. And I'll be like, I told her to do that.
Exactly.
Be like, Danny T, man, Danny T.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Lete.
For sure.
It's been fun.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You too.
Well, that's going to do it for today's show. For more information about our guests, you can head over to itseasybreezysports.com, and please be sure to follow us on Instagram at itseasybreezysports.